Once again, the athletic body, if you will, with a better GPA than the student body, never mind the academic awards that not only individuals but your department have received already this year.
We're hoping as we go into finals coming up that we'll have 21 straight semesters now that will have exceeded the undergraduate student body. It's a stated goal of ours, and we're glad that we're not just winning by .01. We had a 3.32 in the spring. The university had a 3.01. We're at a point where we're also looking at it from a national standpoint. The last time we met, we talked about the success that we had for the best in the ASUN for the second year in a row in the state of Florida with the most number of teams, 7, with the NCAA Academic Progress rate, which then leads to a National Public Recognition Award for teams that have perfect scores. So that was really exciting. And then most recently, the NCAA's graduation success rate comes out, and that judges individuals who basically have finished their eligibility on athletics aid. And we had 94% of our student athletes in that cohort group that did that, the highest we've ever had, and we were proud to say it was the highest in the ASUN. So again, in the long run, very few of our athletes are going to be like Chris Sale and have an ability to raise enough resources from their sport to not have to worry about a degree. The majority of our student athletes not only need that degree to put themselves in position in the marketplace, but to sustain themselves. So we try to continue to focus on what's important long term, yet we do want to win when we're playing.
We'll get to Chris Sale in a moment, but that leads us to the other aspect of off the court, off the field, which is money. Capital campaign, you just finished Night at the Nest. And Mr. Sale had a rather big announcement at Night at the Nest.
Yeah, the element of Night at the Nest this year took on a new twist as we launched our new Eagle campaign. For those who aren't aware, if you go to our website, you'll get plenty of information on ways you can be involved with that in a critical way to continue to grow a department that's only in our 20th year. For most of our teams, it's only our 18th year, like basketball and baseball, most of our team sports. And in a situation where the traditional FGC alum is 43 years old as your oldest and your average one's 33, it's a unique environment. So we really appreciate everything that Southwest Florida has already done to adopt us, and hopefully will continue to help us grow to compete against the likes of a Liberty, who has a $2 billion endowment. So we launched our Eagle campaign as part of our Night at the Nest celebration. It was our 10th year this year. We were very excited to have a tremendous event that not only had a lot of individuals have a great time, but raised a record which we believe will exceed last year's $600,000, and it's going to be in the neighborhood of about $625 or higher than that. And now, all total, in 10 years, we've raised $4 million off that event, but just in the last 6 years alone, we've raised almost 3 of it. So it's really grown. Mobile bidding has been terrific. I was on the phone with someone today who is going to have a Toronto Raptors experience with the head coach, Nick Nurse, who last year's, when the Raptors won the World Championship, his bride is Roberta Nurse, who was Roberta Santos when she played for us with Brooke Young-Sweat on the teams just as we were going to Division I. So this individual is from Boston, and I don't even know who he was. He wasn't here the other night, I know that. So mobile bidding's been very successful, and it's just an event that produces resources we need, but also is energizing people outside of just being here at Alico Arena, which 800 folks were.
Well, you mentioned someone who was an athlete here and now reaching a certain level in their life, Chris Sale's teammate. In fact, Chris was Mr. Friday Night, and Pete Woodworth was Saturday. He was the #2 guy in the team that won a regular season ASUN title. I believe it was back in 2010. And he's now the pitching coach of the Seattle Mariners. We talk about the Eagles who have made it to the majors. This is the first, I think, FGCU athlete to make it to the majors in their respective sport as a coach.
Yeah, no, Woody, and he did it from AA. He didn't even go to AAA. He was did so well, and I guess the young pitchers going up through into the Mariners organization and now in the major leagues felt so much confidence that he certainly was treated with a great opportunity. So Woody was a pitching coach for us before he went to the Mariners. Before that, he was an all-conference pitcher with Chris Sale and Richie Erath on our first team that went to the ASUN playoffs. So really happy for Woody. It's something that, from our standpoint, he's another first for us.
I talked to Chris Sale last week and said, hey, how about Woody? And he said, you know, I know it's a cliche, but when he was here, he was like a pitching coach. And we all knew if he wanted to do it, he was a pitching coach, that he, Chris had the rifle arm and Woody had to pitch. Woody, was kind of threw, it's not like he had slop, but compared to Chris, he had to find the corners, he had to change the speeds. He had to pitch. He couldn't throw and get guys out. And Chris said, doesn't surprise me at all that he's a major league pitching coach.
It's heartwarming. Once an Eagle, always an Eagle, and people following each
tight,
other.
too.
Yeah, no, Chris and that group, there was a large group of them that took a gamble on coming to a school that was not yet into Division I ranks until they started playing. So, but we were talking about the other portions of Night at the Nest, and we forgot about that number 41 and what he did that night.
I thought you mentioned it.
No, we were in a position we were.
I set you up. I threw it in underhanded there.
I'm left-handed. I don't always think
so. You buried the lead, is what you did.
Yeah, I did.
Seven-figure check, by the way. That's 2 commas. That's 6 zeros. $1 million.
Yeah, and it's historic in 2 ways. First, it's historic. It's the largest gift ever by a former FGCU student athlete. And equally important, it's the largest gift from an FGCU alumnus from an undergrad standpoint in Brienne. Brienne has the alumni status because Chris left after his junior year, and I think he's making enough money right now that part of the reason to go to school is to educate yourself, and the other part is to get a job.
Right.
And he's doing pretty well. And I think he educated himself. He was a good student when he was here. So those are 2 areas that they've created a new milestone. The neater part was just Chris's outpouring of green and blue in his remarks that he made there. And I think that's something, a credit to Coach Tillett and what he's developed with his program. And we have other coaches that are doing that. But in this specific occasion, what Coach Toe has done. And Chris, one of the comments he made at the Night at the Nest was, he's so proud of our facility where he pitched and where we are in terms of being compared to other schools and other facilities. But one of the things he felt was missing was an old scoreboard that's probably been hit 1 million times by lightning over the years. So their gift is going to go primarily toward having a brand new video scoreboard, and on turn, any resources left beyond that will go toward the program, and in particular, helping out with other needs.
So Chris Sale with the $1 million check at Night at the Nest. Let's say brought the house down. I was told 3 standing ovations.
Oh yeah,
3.
Yeah, that's a record.
That's a pretty good night. That's for sure. One other baseball note. Chris Sale, the year before, got the final out of the World Series and got a ring, but another FGCU Eagle got a ring.
Yeah, it's Jake Knoll was someone similar to Woody, went from AA to the major leagues. For those, people don't know, Jake's a local product from Charlotte High School in Punta Gorda, where Coach Tillett went. Came to our program without a scholarship and not even a guarantee to make the roster. Made the team because there's a limit in baseball, the only sport where you can only have a certain number, and it's 35. And redshirted as a freshman and did a lot of bullpen catching. Earned his opportunity the next year as a starting redshirt freshman at second base. And when that year was over, he eventually was the first team All-Conference, ASUN, third team All-American.
And National Freshman of the Year.
National Freshman of the Year, and he was second in the country in hits. So he just worked his way into a situation. Eventually, his last year for us, he was first team All-American and got drafted in the 7th round by the Nationals, and then you start all over again. And here he's working his way up through the ranks, and he was in AA the year prior and expected to go to spring training and hopefully make it to AAA. And next thing you know, he gets invited with the big team, and with a few injuries, he's playing quite a bit, and he's second, I think, on the team in hits in spring training, and got invited to open the roster. Some of those guys got healthy, and yet he got to play in a number of games. One game he got a walk-off walk. I think he got 2 hits, his first hit and another hit to follow, and he is now part of the World Series champions. So just really neat. Jake's still young, has got a lot in front of him, but at the same time, he is someone that is more than personifies the word perseverance and taking advantage of an opportunity.